From R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, this is The Retirement.
When you retire, if you want an exciting life, you need a boring investment strategy.
Matters.
If you enter into retirement without a plan for income, you're not retired, you're simply unemployed.
Podcast.
Hey, this is your host, Dale Smothers, and you're listening to the Retirement Matters Podcast. My hope is that you will find the information you need in every single show on how to do one of the three things: either saving more money more efficiently, planning better for your future where you can live in retirement worry-free, or my favorite, how you can live a happy and fulfilled life in this life you have been given. We know that your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending it listening to this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. On this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast, we go into what I call some financial proverbs. They're little clips of wisdom, just little bits here and there of random pieces of wisdom, things that you may have heard of in financial news, things you may never have heard of at all, but they're good pieces of information, especially as we have the end of the year wrapping up. And, you know, the show is a 30-minute show, and it's tough to get a 6, 7, or 8-minute section out of any of these topics that we hit today, but we can put 2 or 3 of these little topics together and make one section of a radio show. And so instead of having, 15 commercials in between sections, we just group them all together, and we make a good section. This is what we've done. This is the Financial Proverbs version of the Retirement Matters Podcast, and I hope you enjoyed this show. It's got some good information in it, some things that we've maybe mentioned a little bit at a time. We do these Proverbs shows from time to time, but some of it I know we've never hit quite like this. And without further ado, I'll just get to this week's episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. I hope you enjoy the show. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. You're ready to start discussing all things retirement matters. This morning, I have a show that's going to jump from topic to topic. We'll call this a Proverbs of retirement planning. We'll hit a couple of topics. We'll take a break. We'll hit a few more topics and take another break. And we may bounce around from one topic to the next, but ultimately what I want to do is cover some things in retirement planning that aren't hit on as much. Maybe they're going to be discussed here over the next couple of months as we head into the end of the year. Maybe they're things that are hardly ever discussed, and the things that we just are important for us to know, but not something that could use the entire 30 minutes of this show. We couldn't build a whole show on it, but we can build a small segment. And so we'll do that today, and I think you're going to find this one interesting. Now, we in every show, we go to our pause for positivity at the very beginning of the show, and we believe at R.D. Smothers Wealth Management that you have to have a positive outlook on life. You have to live happy in retirement and in life in general to truly live what we would call an optimal retirement. You must know what your purpose is in life and how you're impacting people, and know that you can continue to impact those people without worrying about running out of money. This is where we assist in our retirement plans for those who are in retirement or nearing retirement. If it's something that you would like to do, to be able to live a life of freedom and carefree, worry less about money and more about the people you care about and spending time and money on those people. This is what we do here at R.D. Smothers Wealth Management. 270-600-PLAN. We would love to help you build a plan that can help you do just that. The pause for positivity this week comes from a group of young men who impressed on me this week during our mini camp. Basketball season's cranking up. R.D. Smothers Wealth Management actually sponsored a mini camp for young men to come and just learn the game a little bit. And it's the second and third grades when everything really gets cranked up. You start learning some fundamentals. And I was blessed to be able to put some time into that. We had about a 4.5-hour camp. And we had over 30 young men between second and third grade at this camp. And I call them young men. Every young person that I coach, a young man or woman, because ultimately we are helping them become better men or women. This sport that we're playing is important at the moment. We want to win. Winning is a part of the ambition in life. But at the end of the day, there's so much more to this than just winning. We have to be able to turn these young men and women into productive members of society, teaching them life skills that, just to be real frank with you, are difficult even for adults. It's just a challenge sometimes. And as young people, we're not raising angels. We realize this. I've got a 9-year-old going on 10. I've got a 6-year-old. And I'm confident that there are mistakes they make now that they will make again. We can't just teach them one time. And this is what I love about coaching is that you coach them until it becomes muscle memory. And some of the things that we're coaching young men on, especially the competitive and good, athletically good, gifted young men, is to be okay making mistakes, not to get over zealous or over upset, if I can say it that way, about a mistake that is made. When you fail, when you lose, you must learn from that loss. You must learn from the mistake. And we were able to impart this wisdom into the young people that we were working with. A few members of my team showed up, a few fathers in the community. I want to thank you for those. If you're listening, you know who you are. And giving this time back to the young people of the Taylor County community is something that our team loved to do. We had some team members that weren't completely up to speed on basketball, maybe have never played in their life, but still wanted to come out and give some time, giving time back to people and impacting their lives, changing future generations to come, no doubt. And while we were there, we got to see some teachers, and we thank them personally for the impact that they have on our young people. I want to really focus on one thing that happened there, though. There was a young man who kind of lost his cool for a second, and he slammed the ball down. He was upset that his team had made a mistake. They were actually winning, but he made a mistake. He himself made the mistake that let the team down. He was called for a travel, and it was clearly a travel. Internally, he probably challenged whether or not he actually walked. But what happened afterwards is he slams this ball down, and immediately the whistle's blown, and we have him run a punishment lap. And the whole time, he's upset. And, afterwards, I went over and chatted with him. And it just began to maybe share with him, we've got to be mentally tough. We've got to be okay making mistakes. We can't cost our team. We can't allow one mistake to become a second mistake or a third mistake. We have to realize that the current moment right now is what matters, and how we control our temper or the next action we take right now is the most important action. And, I was sitting there talking to this young man. He's 7, maybe 8. And it just hit me. That's life. That's life in general. And what I've come to tell you is not so much to coach, but to just share with you that this is a life that will give us defeats. It will give us disappointments. There will be things that do not go according to plan. There will be things that we do that we realize very quickly with just a little bit of inward perspective and a little bit of inward soul searching. We may realize very quickly that we are the ones that made the mistake. And when that happens, we've got to be okay just moving on, allowing it to go, asking for forgiveness for whoever it is that we need to ask for forgiveness from, including ourselves, and then hopefully extending grace to ourselves. And if it's someone else asking you for forgiveness, you extend grace to them. So why not to yourself? I know the kind of people you are. I know that you're extending grace to everyone else. So extend it to yourself. But then to move on and to do your best for the next step, the next phase, the next decision that you must make, the next financial choice, or the next whatever it may be. This is hard to do, but it's our pause this week for Pause for Positivity, because I think if we can master this, if we can put attention to it, not only does the world around us get to be a little bit brighter, our world becomes brighter in general. We see things through a different scope, and the world has certainly changed as a result. The lesson that I was able to teach to an 8-year-old this week, I just want to share with you. And that is, sometimes we've just got to be mentally tough. We've got to persevere, and we can't allow the last mistake to cause us to do more mistakes as we go forward. Pick up and go forward. Pick up, take your loss, learn from the loss, and do not be afraid to try again. Whatever it is in your life that you need this message for, I hope that it is exactly the message that you hear and act on this week. I'm going to challenge you with that. And if you are not in that state, maybe you are not in that need. I'm not personally in any kind of space right now that I need that, but it still rings true. And we can always tuck it away, put it in our toolbox. And when it's time to deploy that tool, we know where it's at. All right. Pause for Positivity is behind us, and now we're moving on to the next section. Before we do, we're going to take a pause. We are going to reset, and we're coming to you with some questions like, how do I turn my 401k into a paycheck? Is there a way to satisfy the need for income in an unpredictable market with predictable income? We're going to cover a little bit of that. We're going to discuss some smart tax moves and how you can lower your tax bill overall in retirement. All of these things are coming. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more Retirement Matters right after this quick break.
It's 4th and 1 with 2 seconds left in the game. Less than 1 yard separates you from victory. You have the best running back in the league, but your coach calls a Hail Mary. As silly as that sounds, we see a lot of retirement managers being far too aggressive with your investments when a more conservative play would be a better fit. You have questions, we have answers.
Contact R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-7526.
All right, welcome back to the show. Let's jump into a couple of high-level overview market themes that we need to be aware of. We talk a lot about financial winter because the reality is September and October, even August, September, and October, leading up into those 3 months, we typically start to prep advisors for the volatility that is to come. September, October are the worst, but August sometimes can be a bad month as well. This financial winter has not been bad this year at all. And it makes us wonder if the next historical piece that normally comes is on its way. It's called the Santa Claus Rally. See, the Santa Claus Rally is the historical late November, early to mid-December rally that we see in the stock market, which is typically due to some rebalancing in major indices. It could very easily be due to the extra spending that companies are seeing, and therefore some investors may be trying to get out in front of earnings. But the Santa Claus Rally is real, and it can be as much as 1 to 2% on the S&P 500 or more, clearly. But on average, 1 to 2% of the S&P 500 growth in those months. This is a pretty substantial growth for the end of the year push. Sometimes it's much higher. Sometimes it's negative, clearly. But about 3 out of every 4 Decembers have resulted in a positive S&P 500 return. And again, this is something you may hear in the news called the Santa Claus Rally. We also talk a lot about rate cuts and cutting season, rather. Rate cuts. What is that exactly? Well, rate cuts, for the layman's term, is the Federal Reserve making it cheaper to borrow money. Now, that sounds really good, and it is. Clearly, it's great for the consumer. But for those who are entering into retirement income phase, it makes it challenging for the saver, the one who doesn't want market risk but wants return and quote-unquote income in their retirement. See, if CDs were paying 10 and 12%, well, that would be a win-win for savers. We put the money in the bank, we have absolutely no risk, and we're getting 10 to 12%. Well, we're nowhere close to that. And if we were paying 10 to 12% in a CD, can you imagine what a home loan would be? That would also require a substantial Fed rate, and the Federal Reserve rate is anywhere close to that. The Federal Reserve rate is likely coming down, thus the cutting season. And this sounds good, but as I said, if you are in retirement income phase, you need rates just a little bit higher than zero, because without them, it's challenging to turn any of your money into income producing investments with a low risk. Now, we do help clients with building option strategies that generate income, but interest rates coming down require us to really get specific on what types of products and or investments you're putting your money into. And we've got to make sure that we're discussing those in detail and not just picking the right product or the right investment or the right company to lend money to, but instead making sure that we understand why we're doing it, what it's accomplishing, how much of the income it's actually satisfying, and how much of it we still need to go out and get with risk-based assets. The risk-on, risk-off portfolio is designed to specifically address your income need in retirement. We start with an income plan. Now, if you are up against this, you're maybe a saver, you've got some money that you are rolling into CDs or have recently come due in CDs, or maybe they're coming up in just a few days. Before you just pull that money out and put it back into a new CD at a lower rate, maybe you should get in touch with someone who can help you build a true plan for that money. Make sure it's accomplishing what you need it to do as tax efficiently as possible. Putting money into a different type of investment is just like putting it in the bank, except rather than the bank's name being on the digital trail, maybe Charles Schwab's name or Fidelity's name is on the digital trail. Still a large bank, still a large institution. Maybe it's U.S. Bank, maybe it's Bank of America, you name it. We could go to many, many places. But what we do need to make sure is that we are not just putting money into the CDs or savings accounts because it's easy. Easy is often not the most efficient. Said a different way, it's not very likely that the easy route is always the right route. So let us work with you. 270-600-PLAN. We would love to answer those questions for you. Is this the right place to put it? A lot of that has to do with your taxes too. So all of this starts to really come together. An income plan, a tax plan, your investment plan then being put into motion. If you've got CDs that are in accounts that are generating 1099s for you, it's very likely, very, very likely under this current market condition that we find ourselves in right now, that we can help save some significant money in taxes and get you a just as good, if not better, rate of return along the way. And then, of course, after-tax rate of return would be substantially better because there would be very little, if any, tax. So these types of strategies are something we can assist you with if that's something you're interested in. Just give us a call, 270-600-PLAN, or navigate to our website, rdswealth.com. Click on the Schedule a Call, and we'll give you a call at a time that is convenient for you. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to reset with, we're moving from the economic trends and maybe the times that we're in to income and retirement planning. We're going to give you a couple of pointers. Again, these are just quick hits that won't fill an entire show, but all put together, it's good information for you. And it highlights a couple of things that we do with our clients that help them live happy in retirement. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more Retirement Matters right after this.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of R.D. Smothers Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the show. Income and retirement planning is something that we discuss very, very often, but I want to break this down into layman's terms of how we would turn our 401k into a paycheck. There are a few ways that we would do this. First of all, the 401k needs to be rolled to an IRA 9 times out of 10. That 401k being picked up and taken to an IRA should cost you no fees, and it should be pretty simple, especially if you're working with an income advisor. We would love to sit down with you and show you what that looks like and talk to you about how it's no fee, no tax, no penalty to do just that. Picking the money up from the 401k, parking it in an IRA as early as 59 and a half would be our recommendation, as early as 59 and a half. Now, this happens when you're ready, of course, and when it's appropriate for you, but most people have the ability to do this and the need to do this as early as 59 and a half because it allows you to then, inside of that IRA, invest the money in a place where if the market does take a tumble, you're not falling down with it. Market upside is still generated if the market's good. You can still make good money in the market, but you don't have to take a nosedive in the market if the market wakes up and has a bad day. You don't have to see your accounts going down by 20 and 30 and 40% if you invest them right in the IRA. The IRA also has some advantages by having more selections to choose from. If you construct your IRA appropriately, you can have an unlimited number of investment options. If it's out there, you can get it inside of that IRA. If it exists as an investment option, it can be put in there. But every investment option is not likely to be needed. As a matter of fact, you need something with less volatility to be able to predict the income that it will generate. Less volatility, something like a dividend aristocrat, which shows increased dividends on an annual basis. That might be a good option. Another one is an actual options trade, some sort of a blue chip growth fund or a blue chip company that then we would sell a covered call against. I'm not going to get into the weeds on this, but these types of options strategies allow you to really lock in that income with a degree of certainty, knowing that it's good for a length of time. And worst case is you just walk away with a pile of money. This is the objective of a covered call strategy. We can help you do just that. 270-600-PLAN. We can help you construct the retirement income plan that will take your 401k from a lump sum of money into a stream of monthly income, still having that lump sum of money if you need it, and that lump sum of money continues to grow. We would love to offer the types of protection that keeps it from going backwards, but still having the upside potential to continue growth while you're taking income. Just because you enter into income phase does not mean you have to stop growing your money. It just means you have to transition your priorities. It's not that you are needing to stop with growth. It's that growth is not the ultimate driver of the investment decision. Tax efficiency, income stability, making sure it's not generating unnecessary taxes on Medicare, making sure that you're covering all of the bases that are going to happen with your required minimum distribution and long-term care. All of this really goes into this, and this is where we come in. 270-600-PLAN. Get in touch with a member of our team, or you can navigate to our website, rdswealth.com. We would help you build your retirement plan to achieve the objectives that you desire, but we would do this at a time that's convenient for you. If you log into our website, you can schedule on our Calendly link to get in touch with a team member. The objective of retirement is to understand what you want to do, who you want to impact, and how much money you want to leave behind. If you can give us that information, my goodness, we can craft the plan to get you to those destinations and get there efficiently and get there in a timely manner as well. If I use this analogy before we go to break, I use an analogy all the time with clients, and I say, in theory, if we're trying to, say, get to California, if we were to use an analogy of our financial roadmap is leading us to California, and I'm not talking about moving, I'm talking about whatever it is, if we could represent that with the state of California, and let's just say wherever you are right now is represented with the state of Maine. Well, the types of directions I give you is going to be entirely different than someone I may talk to who's still headed to California, but they're living right now in Florida. And vice versa, if they're headed to Florida and they're currently in California, they're going to have entirely different directions than someone who may be headed to Kansas or Maine or Iowa. This is an analogy that makes a lot of sense to clients because we've got to figure out where you are to be able to help you. If we know where you are financially and where you want to go financially, we then work together to build the roadmap to get you there. And in our second meeting, before we ever collect a dime from you, we will show you the opportunities that we know we can lay out for you to get you to that destination as efficiently and as quickly as possible. This destination being retirement, of course, but who do we want to impact? How do we want to live our life? What's our cash flow look like? What does it need to be? All of these things are questions that we help you with, and this is how we turn your 401k into a paycheck and do it efficiently. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going into some end-of-year moves that you probably need to be making with taxes, some things to consider. And again, this is the Retirement Proverbs show because none of these things would fill an entire show by themselves, but they're good little tidbits of information, and we're going through them rather quickly. Let's take a break. We're coming back with a reset and more information on the Retirement Matters show right after this.
Thank you for listening to Retirement Matters, presented by R.D. Smothers Wealth Management. If you'd like to speak with us, give us a call at 270-600-PLAN. And if you enjoy the information in this show and would like to hear more, you can access previous shows by searching for the Retirement Matters podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. We also produce a weekly newsletter. Receive it free to your email inbox by signing up online at rdswealth.com.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to jump into some end-of-year tax moves that you should be considering here at the end of 2025. And we're also very much concerned with the big, beautiful bill and all the changes that have come from this. The tax picture looks a little different for just about every retiree. And this is where R.D. Smothers Wealth Management really earns its keep. We look at the financial picture from all lenses, including the tax perspective, and just make sure that we're taking full advantage of the opportunities that we have at our disposal. Whether it's making sure we're taking a required minimum distribution to maybe even recommending that instead of taking the required minimum distribution and putting it in our pocket, we send it to a church or charity that we're already giving to, and we elect something called a QCD and get an additional tax deduction for that type of move. This helps save taxes in this year's tax bill, but we also look at your legacy goals, your desires to leave money to someone. And if the goal is to leave it to someone you care about, especially if they're making any money on their own, it makes a lot of sense for us to start making some tax efficient moves on your portfolio using what we call the opportunity zone in the tax code. That is the point from where you are spending your last dollar to the point in which your next dollar goes to a new tax bracket. This opportunity zone, sometimes it's as much as $100,000, $150,000 worth of opportunity zone that we could utilize and get some tax savings for over the life of your retirement. And man, we have seen some significant savings. In addition to savings, it saves you on the hidden Social Security tax called IRMA. Social Security tax. Now, theoretically, it's taxing your Medicare, but it makes your Social Security check cheaper, smaller. It also could very easily save, depending on the picture that you have, it could save you from having your Social Security taxed at all. The Big Beautiful Bill has changed a little bit of the way we plan around this. And if your plan for taxes has not been updated lately, and you're not a client of R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, my question to you is, has it been looked at for you? As a client of RDS Wealth, we look at this on an annual basis for every client we work with, especially those who are in income phase. And we begin working on the tax plan from a perspective of, should we make moves now to save significant taxes in the future? We can do that for you as well. 270-600-PLAN, making sure that you are taking the right steps at the right time to pay as little to the IRS as possible. I want to be clear here. We are not, nor do we desire to be, CPAs. Our objective is not to do your taxes. Our objective is to make sure that we understand the tax code as it pertains to retirees and that we navigate that tax code as efficiently as we possibly can. We are retirement income specialists. A general investment advisor, a general financial advisor, dare I say it, I just better not call a company out, but these companies that are growth-oriented, that are mutual fund salespeople, they're just not going to come in and discuss with you the holistic plan. It's not that they're bad. It's not that they're not good at what they do. It's that they specialize in the growth phase. As you transition into income phase, you need to make sure that you're working with someone who is specializing in the phase that you are in yourself. In the income phase, there are very specific moves that need to be made, and we can assist you in doing just that. My last little proverb here, as I've got just a few minutes left, is that I want you to know that in order to retire in what we call the live happy retirement, you must have a purpose for your retirement. It's very unlikely that you will retire and want to just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and feel fulfilled. You will likely be concerned about your money, concerned about your loved ones, concerned about the what ifs, and ultimately you may find yourself going back to work, not because you have to, but because you just don't know what else to do. Finding a purpose for your life is a challenge. And it's a challenge that I give every one of our clients, understanding what makes them happy and empowering them as much as we can to do that more this year than they did the last, every single year for the rest of their life. And just like that, we're at the end of the show. This show has flown by. It's one of my favorite shows that we do. We will do these occasionally where just little hits here and there, little things that stick out to me that we've not been able to do a complete show on, but it's something that I want you to be aware of. So in a recap, be prepared for the Santa Claus rally and all the opportunities that it may bring in your retirement portfolio. Be prepared for tax changes that are coming, especially those this year in the Big Beautiful Bill. Be prepared to turn your 401k into income, and be prepared to have a true purpose in your retirement. And you're on your way to a live happy retirement. At R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, we would love an opportunity to sit down with you. If you have not fulfilled or achieved this objective, if you're on your way, you're over the age of 59 and a half, and you're considering retirement, in the next 5 years and you have not got these things mapped out, give our team a call today and we can help get the next step ready to take. Whether it's 5 years from now or 5 days from now, making the next step at the right time is a crucial piece of this puzzle. And if it's done incorrectly, it could start you off on the wrong foot, quite literally. All right, we are going to sign off, and every week, I have to tell you, I appreciate you listening. We hear it all the time from people who listen, just like you. They say, Dale, I've heard the show, and I appreciate the show. We like this section or that section. Whatever it is you like about the show, we are glad that you do. And if there's something more that we need to shine some light on, you let us know. And I hope that one day we can talk in person. But until we talk again, whether it's right here on this same station or it is in our office, always remember, save money, plan well, and live happy in retirement. God bless.
Investing involves a risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. R.D. Smothers Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by R.D. Smothers Wealth Management.